Test, fail, learn, improve. Re-enter. Test, fail, learn, improve. Re-enter. Test, fail, learn, improve. Re-enter. You see, it's a constant growth process. Every time you re-enter is because you improved. And you improve because you learned, and you learned because you failed, and you failed because you tested. That's a process. If you'll practice this process in your business, I will promise you, you will immediately begin to see improvement, and you'll begin to get that return on failure. Okay. Let me give you two more things, okay? And then Dave's going to come up and we're going to talk, I think. So let me just give you two more. Can I do two more? Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I'm just developing this. So if you hear me and you think of something I haven't said, write a note, okay? And give it to me with your name on it. And the reason I want you to do that is because if it's good, I'll put it in the book. And if I have your name, I'll give you credit. I do that all the time. People help me write all my books. Some of my best thinking has been done by others. None of us is as smart as all of us. So, just give me a point or a thought. Put your name on so I can give you credit. Now, I won't give you royalties. You understand? There's a difference, okay? Credit, you get. Royalties, I keep those, okay? Just want to make sure we understand this, okay? We're good. Number 6, encourage others with your failures. This is huge. Encourage other people with your failures. I talk openly about my misses, but let me tell you why. When I was a young leader in my 20s, I built this incredible organization, and I had literally hundreds and then thousands of people coming to hear me talk about how to build an organization. And I did I'll never forget, I did a 2-day conference, and I brought 3 of the people that were quite successful. I brought them in, and each person had a half a day piece. Morning, afternoon. I was the last speaker the last afternoon. And the first speaker got up and he talked about his success, and he had a lot of success. And it was very good, and everybody enjoyed it. And then he sat down in the afternoon, another person, they got up and they talked about their success. And by the end of the first day, I was starting to get overloaded on success. I was beginning to think, oh crap. Really? What are you smoking? Really? You mean we've heard success all day and I didn't hear any failure, losses, misses, regrets, problems? Really? The next morning, the third guy got up and he did the same thing. It was just success. By the time it was my turn to speak again, I was puking on success. In fact, at lunch, I excused myself and I went to my office. And I said, I can't do any more success. I'm so tired of success. They've worn me out with their delusional talking. So I got my legal pad out and I really quickly scribbled out my lecture. And that afternoon, my lecture title was Flops, Failures, and Fumbles. And I looked at them and I said, I'm tired of success. I'm totally worn out. I'm so discouraged, I don't even want to try anything. Everybody seems to be so good, and I'm not that good, and I'm never going to measure up. So I said, let me just tell you about all of the flops and failures and fumbles I've had in my business. And I just started telling the stories. All of them, misses, losses. And the people started lighting up, and they started laughing. But the time that afternoon was over, there was so much joy in that room. Listen to me very carefully. I talk about my failures openly because I want friends, not fans. Ooh. I don't need any fans, thank you very much. You see, people that want fans, they want a separation between themselves and the others. They want everybody to say they're so amazing. I could never do that. Oh my gosh, I could never sing like that. I could never. They're so talented. They're so, oh my gifted. And they love that gap. They love that gap. Because, let me tell you something. When you have a gap, you could never help or equip people to make their lives better. You got to close the gap. And I close the gap by talking about my losses and my failures. I want to walk around. I want to have friends around. I don't need fans. Dear Lord. Really? You want that kind of life? I want people that I help. I want to, you know, an educator takes things that are simple and makes them complicated. I mean, if you're not confused, they're not happy. Now, I have 3 degrees. So thank you very much. But I'm not an educator, I'm a communicator. Communicators takes things complicated and make it simple. I put the cookies all over the shelf. I want everybody to have a cookie. It's obvious I have plenty of them. I want everybody to have a cookie. Are you with me?
Yes.
I want to walk slowly through the crowd. My name's John. I'm your friend. Here's what I learned. If you want to impress people, talk about your success. If you want to impact people, talk about your failures.
Let's go.
When I'm done talking to you, I want every one of you to leave this room, and I want you to say, I don't want you to say, John's amazing. I want you to say, I can do that too. I want you to feel a part of it. I want you to say, wow, I believe I could reach that height. If I had a genie wish, you know, I mean, if a genie really came out of a bottle and gave you a wish, my genie wish would be, I wish you could have seen me, not now. I wish you could have seen me 50 years ago when I started. I just really do. I took my kids and my grandkids back to where I started 50 years ago last month. And I just kept them there for a day, and I told them stories about my life there, what it meant, and my successes and my losses. But I wish you could have seen me 50 years ago. I mean, people say, John, you sit up there, you drink a bottle of water, you walk around the stage, you communicate, you tell stories, you're an amazing communicator. Well, of course I am. Why wouldn't I be amazing? I've done it 12,000 times. Let's put it this way, after 12,000 times, if I'm not good, I'm in deep weeds. I've done it 12,000. I wish you could have heard me the first time. I wasn't any good. I wish you could read my first book. It wasn't any good. I know you're thinking I'm humble. I'm not being humble. I wasn't any good. What part of I wasn't any good don't you understand? I wasn't any good. My first book is still in print. I can't figure it out. It's still in print. I've written 86. It's still in print. I called the publisher a half a dozen times, just do us a favor. Kill it. Just kill it. It's not any good. I've read more leadership material than any person that has ever lived in the history of this world. Non-fiction author in the world. I've sold 35 million books.
Yeah. I want to be like you.
I wasn't any good when I started. Listen, I wasn't any good. In fact, the lady brought me, the other day I was signing books and she brought me my first book. And I looked at it. And she said, "This is your first book?" I said, "I know it." She said, "Why do you have it?" And she said, "I love this book." I love this book. I said, "What do you know about the book?" I mean, she's delusional. What do you know about this book? She said, "The short chapters." Because the book is 100 pages and it has 33 chapters. 3 pages per chapter. She said, how did you think of doing short chapter? I said, lady, it was my first book. I ran out of gas. After 3 pages, I had nothing to say. In fact, after the first page, many times I had nothing to say. Some of those chapters are 2 pages too long. This is my first book. What part of I wasn't any good don't you get? I wasn't any good. Now, why do I wish this? I wish it. Because if you could have seen me 50 years ago, you would be greatly encouraged. You really would be. You would say, I'm going to make it. Oh, wasn't it good? Here's the way this works. I suppose in the beginning you're not as bad as people think you are. But if you're highly successful in the end, you're not as good as people think you are. And my name is John. I'm your friend. And I'm not that good. I just have had years of success. And let me tell you something. Consistency compounds. I've been doing leadership for 50 years. No wonder I've written more on leadership than any man has ever lived in the history of the world. I've been doing this for a long time. I know I've written 85 books. I got that. But that's not any big deal. You just have to be old. You can't do that when you're young. Consistency compound. I had a guy the other day come up to me and said, I wish I could have heard you 20 years ago. And I looked right at him and said, no, you don't. He said, what do you mean? I said, what I mean is you don't wish you could have heard me 20 years ago. He said, no, I really wish I. He said, the stuff I learned from you today, if I would have learned it 20 years ago, it would have just incredibly changed my life when I was younger. I said, if you would have heard me 20 years ago, you wouldn't have heard the stuff you heard today. What do you think I was? Did you think I came out of my mother's womb with a 21 irrefutable law? My name's John, your friend. If you really want to return on failure, honestly, just encourage other people to grow. That's when you start equipping people. Don't talk about your success all the time. Dear God, are you so insecure? That's all you can talk about. Dear Lord, some of you don't need to go to a leadership conference. You need therapy. You're not that good. I'm not that good. Are you with me? See, if all I do is talk about success and then you try it, you'll never measure up. And you'll look and say, well, I can't do this business. Look how good he is. Look how bad I am. So what I do all the time when I talk to people, do people especially, I say, let me tell you all my mess-ups when I started, right where you are. Let me tell you about the things I didn't understand. Let me tell you what I didn't learn. Let me tell you what I learned, but I didn't do it well. And I just build an encouragement family environment around them until when they leave, they say, I can do this. And then when they go to mess up, they don't quit the business because they can't measure up. They say, oh my God, I must be like John. I'm going to be really successful. I'm going to fail my way forward. Last thing, number 7. If you want to return on your failure, value the lessons that only failure can teach you. There are some lessons in life that you cannot learn except by failure. One of the greatest leaders, if not the greatest leader of the last century, was Nelson Mandela. How I admired him. There were 2 times when he was president of South Africa, he wanted to meet me, and so we set up an appointment, and then he had to leave suddenly out of the country for government business, and I missed that event. we set up another schedule, and it was the time about 8 years before he died when he broke his hip. And I had a speaking engagement. I couldn't meet him we were going to meet at a central place. Anyway, I lost my 2 opportunities to have time with him personally. We knew each other, we conversed, but I never really got it. And it's truly, I consider probably my biggest disappointment in leadership, because I think he's just a phenomenal man and a phenomenal leader. And Nelson Mandela said these words, because it was just huge. He said, because he was in prison on Robben Island for many, many years. And he said these words. In fact, I had a private tour on Robben Island. I had one of his fellow prisoners take me one day. They cleared the island, and a news reporter and a fellow prisoner and I spent a half a day there. I mean, I was in a cell. And in fact, I was in a cell for about 15 minutes alone, and the reporter was waiting for me. When I came out, she said, "What, you were in there a long time, what were you thinking?" And I was thinking about Nelson Mandela in this little cell, spending 27 years. And she said, "What were you thinking while you were in the cell?" And I looked at her, I smiled, I said, "What I was thinking is, you can't imprison greatness." So Nelson Mandela said, it's a tragedy to lose the best years of your life, which he did. Because he was in prison. He said, it's a tragedy to lose the best years of your life, but you do learn a lot. And what made him great was all the adversity he went through. In one of my companies, we have what we call the executive circle, which is every month I call a major CEO around the world. And I have them with me, and they tell 20 minutes best practices. Then I take about 10 minutes and I apply it to leadership for the people that are on the call. And then I ask questions. And so I was interviewing a CEO that I would give you his name, you know him. But he's the CEO of the largest software company in the world. And we're friends, and we were talking. And I called him by name and I asked him, I said, let's talk about your failures. Let's talk about your mistakes. And he said, well, John, I've had a lot of them. I said, well, we all have a lot. I said, of all the mistakes and failures you've had, which one would you like to go back and do over? Because when we talk about do-overs, I wish I could go back and do that over. Are you with me? I said, which one would you like to do over? And his statement just absolutely shocked me. It was one of the most wonderful days of my life. I learned so much from this statement. He said, if I could go back and I could do over my most massive failure, whatever it would be, he said, I wouldn't go back and do it over. I said, you're kidding. He said, not at all. And here's what he said. Because in my failure, in my losses, I've developed character. The lessons I've learned in my losses have made me a better person, a stronger person, have given me more values. And he said, I wouldn't go do them over because I would lose the lesson that they taught me. And I would lose the character that I've developed. Wow.
Yes.
You get a higher return on failure. When you get a higher return on failure, when you value the lessons that only failure
Can teach you.
It will help you to be better on the inside than you are on the outside. It will help you to be bigger on the inside than you are on the outside. And let me tell you something. If you're better on the inside than you're on the outside, it's only time to get better on the outside. And if you're bigger on the inside than you're on the outside, it's only a matter of time to become bigger on the outside. So embrace failure. It is truly your best teacher. And that's how to receive a return on time. All right.
Okay, was that good? Did that work for you? I think David, oh, here, yeah, good. Are these like thoughts and ideas? Thank you very much. I'll read them on plane going home. Okay, so if I was there, just where you can. Isn't David going to join me? Dave, are you coming out? Are you going to?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David.